and as I said, Irfan, the CEO of Infinity Technology, we can think about what is the technology platform that's required to make this work. One of the things I'm going to do is just in terms of a few components. I'm actually going to, and with your permission, I'm going to go through I was looking through it again. I think you probably contributed towards this document, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I did.
Towards the document.
That was my initial idea, yes.
Yeah, and actually, although I thought we can start with this, because actually it gives a framework for discussion. It doesn't mean this is the exact strategy we should follow, but actually gives us, we can see that makes sense, that doesn't make sense.
Okay.
So I'm just flicking through this. I shared it with the group. So yes, there is a change in consumer. There's a consolidation in retail. There is a disruption in the high street in the UK. I think that's a big opportunity. We'll come back to that. I think consumers have become even more reliant on online shopping and have changed their mindset. So I'm just flicking through. So one is to create a virtual marketplace. So the first question, if we think about the different components to make this successful, at least when I thought about it, is obviously the core, products themselves. Your factory and many other factory companies are already producing it. When I went to see, I haven't been to your factory, but Tori and I went last November to Beximco's factory. We spent the whole day there, and in addition to speaking to the CEO of Yellow, we also met the ED of their export division, and they were very positive. I think they spent 2 hours giving us a presentation about their actual product portfolio. And so I've forgotten his name. I don't know, maybe Tori can remember. I've forgotten, but it's an Indian guy who's their ED of exports. But when I said, well, this is what I think, it's quite self-evident. This is something that the RMG sector and individual companies need to do. He spent 2 hours of his time in a busy day. He said, look, we have 100 designers sitting out there. So the ED of exports and also the director of design went through there. He said, actually, we just gave a presentation to, I think it was either Walmart or Target. It was Target, actually. So Target just came from the US. So this was before lockdowns. And they did this. They gave us the same presentation. And I could see from the presentation, actually, I think I still have a copy. I'll share it later on, of the Beximco presentation. I could see from their product portfolio, I mean, the best in class in terms of the quality of sorry, please go ahead.
Just a little interruption.
Please.
Hakim is texting me that he is not allowed access. I have passed him. If you can allow him, Hakim.
It should be. Let me just see, because there's no waiting room.
Should I ask him to try again?
Yeah, try again just on the link, because I think anybody can join without. There's no waiting room here, so there shouldn't be any access. Maybe the password. Did he put it in correctly or something?
And I just sent him the link, so he should be okay with it.
The link, and there's a password, so maybe he has to put the password in. I'm not sure. At the end of the link, there's a password. Okay, somebody's just joined, so maybe that's Hakim Bhai. Yep, Hakim Bhai has just joined. Yep.
Okay.
How are you?
Okay.
Yeah, fine, thank you. How are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. We just started, so.
So if they continue, I think you were saying that Beximco's presentation you are looking at. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I think when we spent a few hours. So basically, I was saying, look, as a non-industry participant, when I think about some of the basic building blocks, in fact, Hakim Bhai, we just had a call with Hakim Bhai on, but actually it's a small. So I didn't make the connection with that Hakim Bhai, but we're actually working together. So just to show you, Momen Bhai, sort of that actually the IBA CXO conclave was effective. I think I had at least 15 different tech companies contact me after the presentation, wanting to collaborate on the UK, of which Hakim Bhai was one, who's a bit unusual being in the UK. And then actually on Sunday, we actually had Hakim Bhai, Sunny, Irfan, and I had a discussion yesterday. Was it yesterday? No, sorry, day before yesterday, on marketing ERP solutions from his company into the UK marketplace for SMEs. So anyway, so we're already connected and collaborating. So that's I guess collaboration can happen fast. So
Nice to
In
hear.
between, Assalamu alaikum, Bashir bhai. Sorry.
Yeah.
In between, Assalamu alaikum, Bashir bhai. Hello, sir.
Thank you. Nice to see you. Thank you. Thank you.
And nice to see you as well.
So, and we also have Lito join, who's the Deputy CEO of Pathfinder. So just coming back to this discussion. So I think that if I identify the different basic building blocks to launch B2C, the product itself, the product portfolio for most of the leading Bangladeshi companies, they're global best in class. I'm sure Pride Group is the same. So there's no question mark about the quality of the goods because it's already being sold in all the key markets. I mean, maybe a little bit of customization, but the first thing is to identify which products should be the initial product portfolio for the UK or for other markets. Secondly, to decide on the brand and the name, which sounds an easy thing, but actually, as Professor Moon knows, actually is quite complicated. So thinking about the brand, the name, and how to establish that brand in the UK, that in itself is an important exercise, from the digital marketing strategy to coming up with the website design, the different products, the digital ads, and so on and so forth. So that's another component. Then we have to think about what is the actual sales mechanism. So is it going to be an e-commerce platform that we're going to create ourselves? Is it going to be through Amazon and so on? If it's through Amazon, obviously then distribution is taken care of. If we create our own platform, then we have to think about distribution, logistics. Do we want to do just purely a virtual platform? Do we also want to have some physical stores as well? Maybe primarily e-commerce, but this may be a good opportunity to also acquire physical stores because the UK retail sector has been in disarray, and the high street, there's many empty shops. So this may be a good time to visit that. Maybe also even to purchase UK or to invest in UK companies that also can bring in distribution and logistics at a relatively low cost. That was another question we had. So those were the main. I mean, then there was some other, let's say, regulatory and logistics issues, in which you've identified here as well. So let me just keep going through the presentation. So that was the discussion with Mexico. The reason it didn't move forward, to be honest, was I then left Bangladesh in December the 13th, and I never made it back to Bangladesh, and we lost the discussion. I think Beximco, I think that he wanted me to arrange a meeting with Navid Bhai, the CEO, and I know Salman Bhai anyway, but we needed to have an actual plan. So I think one of the, and similarly, when I talked to we had a discussion that week with Rubanapa, we had a discussion with Sharif from Ananta. We had some Zoom calls. People were a bit wary because it's a huge undertaking to go B2C, and we're not quite sure about the risks and whether they could do it. But I think everybody was waiting for me to come up with let's say a credible plan and kind of a consortium that would make it work. And I just didn't have and probably in the last 3 or 4 months, Bashir Bhai and others in the UK have been having similar thoughts and waiting for a strategy. So your timing, Mohan Bhai, was really good. When I heard you said you were serious, then I'm not flattering you. Then I thought, actually, if you say you're serious, and given your background in Pride Group, actually it's worth. That's why it restarted, frankly. And then I called up Bashir Bhai and others and said, well, actually, I think this is worth focusing. I was a bit skeptical about focusing on too many things, but this is worth focusing on. Anyway, let me just go through this presentation. So one is the virtual marketplace. And then, so yeah, I think these all make sense. Having good web having the right UX, UI design at an international standard, and looking at the competitors and making sure that it's not perceived in any way to be a Bangladeshi website or Bangladeshi product. It's a global platform that happens to be owned by Bangladeshi companies, or by Bangladeshi companies in British Bangladeshi. So that's very important. That was one of the things when I looked at Yellow. Again, with no disrespect to Yellow, I just looked at it and said, this looks clearly like a Bangladeshi website and Bangladeshi company. It's not a global. It's not at global best in class, and it has to be. And that's not a very expensive thing. It's actually more of a mindset and being very professional about it. So shipping and handling, some of these things, I think, shipping and handling, we take care about third-party providers at cost to end consumers. That needs to be clarified in more details. So there were some issues. I think one of the things that when I looked at this, the warehousing and factories and logistics in the UK is very important. Again, I don't want to sell sand to the Arabs, but Professor, and I'm sure Hakim Bhai knows as well, that we're living in the world of Amazon, same day delivery and delivery logistics are really important. So having the right warehousing and the right customer experience, the last thing one wants to do is to have customers waiting, saying you're going to deliver next day even, and you deliver 2 or 3 days later because we don't have the delivery logistics in place. So that may be why working through Amazon, and even with a compressed margin, but building one's own platform at the same time may make sense. And then I think that, the formation of the company. So I think that the regulatory side is important. I know at the time there was a thought of having BGMEA, but I think it can be a consortium of leading RMG companies that want to do this. And I think having that critical mass makes sense. I'm just flicking through. So I think the thing about brand Bangladesh, again, would emphasize, I don't think it should be brand Bangladesh. It's a global brand. And maybe I'm sure, Professor, you agree, it's an important distinction. So in terms of the product perception mix, it can be a parallel track of ethnic products, like Yellow and Pride Group have very high quality ethnic products, which will sell. And that may be where we start. But at the same time, we have to have a global brand. And that has to be quite distinct. So nobody would look at it and say it's owned by Bangladeshis. In terms of the policy, yes, there are policies that need to be formulated, I think, for not just investing in warehousing, but also for investing in inventory in the UK, in other countries. It may be the case that some collaboration between companies like yourselves and NRBs, Bashir Bhai and others in our network, that may work, because I think many RMG companies have capital offshore, but you can't officially invest it. So it might be some combination of NRB capital and let's say offshore capital from RMG companies that can be a combination which gives us kind of regulatory cover. Because I think waiting for Bangladesh Bank to approve a regulatory change, we'll be sitting here in a year's time. I think starting and making a success will convince up to the PM that this is the right thing. I think people, Bangladesh Bank, Professor, are worried about capital flight and all these other things. So we have to do it rather than keep debating it, even if it starts in a small way. But I think that I think Bashir Bhai and others are, also and other business people, leading British Bangladeshi business people, would like to invest in this idea. And that can be in conjunction with people like yourselves who have capital to invest or have facilities. So we can look into that. And selling a separate marketplace for resellers, selling all items produced anywhere in the world, selling across the world like Amazon. So the reason I also, again, just coincidentally, after our discussion Saturday, we Sunday actually, so Bashir Bhai kind of, and again, a group of NRB business people, on Sunday we had a call where, he's taken the initiative to set up, we're setting up a new e-commerce marketplace for Bangladeshi products. So he and others, and so Erfan and I are giving, let's say, technology and strategic support, but it's really their initiative to import fresh fruit and vegetables, other fish, other foodstuffs, also ethnic Bangladeshi garments. There'll be warehouses and operations in London area, Manchester, Birmingham, Manchester, Newcastle, other areas. So as soon as we had this discussion just coincidentally on Sunday, and Bashir Bhai has been thinking about it for a while. So immediately I thought, when I spoke to you, that's why I thought, there's a fantastic coincidence that actually that will make a start. So it might be later on. I think these can be two distinct businesses and two distinct platforms, but certainly in the beginning, it makes it easier if we have kind of common warehousing and other logistics. We can discuss that. So these are some more of the technical things, maybe for policy and regulatory changes. As I said, I know I'm not saying Bangladesh Bank is easy to deal with, but I actually think they can be persuaded if they can see it's actually not a scam is right the word, not a facility for getting, allowing even more capital flight illegally, but actually is something that's genuine. So I I think we can get quite a lot of collaboration between business people here and people like yourselves in Bangladesh. And I think that it can also almost be a franchise model. The other things I was going to say, and then I'm going to let let you speak. We also are planning, so through Pathfinder, the other things that Bashir Bhai, Litu is also on the call, and the other Pathfinder members, we're planning to set up different training programs for digital marketing, e-commerce sales amongst the British Bangladeshi community. So we're actually applying for government grants and funding to do that. So again, there's a very ideal convergence of interests. We want to create new employment opportunities for digital marketers, for e-commerce sales, for drop shipping, for even delivery logistics amongst the BAME community, the ethnic minority communities in the UK who've been disadvantaged from COVID, using technology and so on. And that's something that will fit in very well with the B2C for RMG. So that's one thing. Even Sunny, Irfan and I are also setting up a digital marketing company in the UK to basically connect the we have 70,000 drop shippers in Bangladesh, as I was saying on Saturday's call. So Bangladeshis are good at digital sales. We can see that. It's a $2 billion industry. 70,000 people with almost no policy support are buying and selling on e-commerce globally. So we want to package that digital marketing and selling skills and then sell that to UK companies. So SMEs. So through Sunny has a sales force to do that. So we're working on that as well. On the technology side, in any case, Irfan and I are discussing with Bashir Bhai and his consortium of business people how to set up the technology platform. So the technology platform is actually not the big constraint. It's having a clear strategic vision, having the right partners in Bangladesh, like yourselves, or the right, and also in the UK, being realistic and practical. With all these things, you start small and keep building up. And then I think once you make a success, but even, I was just telling somebody this morning that in terms of innovation, we can be extremely innovative. On Sunday's call, again, not to digress, but I think as a business school professor, you'll find this interesting. So we're talking about Irfan. I had to translate it to the rest of the audience. Irfan's like a rocket scientist, but he was talking about blockchain and mangoes. So we were talking about Bashir was saying we're going to import these mangoes from Rajshahi. I think Bashir's business partner, he'll explain in a few minutes, is a former commerce secretary from Bangladesh, so who's got his mango farms in Rajshahi. But then Irfan was saying, yeah, we can use blockchain to market the mangoes. And then I think everybody on the call probably didn't know what blockchain was and didn't know what the relevance was for mangoes. But actually using basically be able to scan, I guess it's the next generation fair trade type policy. So be able to have a QR code to scan the mango box. You can see where the mango was farmed, what is the history of farming. You can have videos to show that. We're going to have high quality images, the how it's benefiting families. So, but on a blockchain, so using supply chain blockchain. So we can do that. I don't think many Bangladeshi projects will be thinking about integrating blockchain, validated supply chain, but we can do all these things. But coming back to the basics, I think I think we have all of the components in place, and now we can decide how to start. And probably a blend, as I said, of we can certainly start with the ethnic orientated products through the platform that Bashir wants to create, and then but we can start the process of let's say brand, what brand creation, thinking about the brand. It can be for Pride Group. I think it does require a few other RMG players to come in, because we need to get there are economies of scale. There is a critical mass to doing this. But I think if you take the initiative, given your reputation and also relationships and network in the industry, we can move forward. I'm just also going to I think maybe Bashir Bhai can give some thoughts as well, because the other thing, and then Momin Bhai, you can speak. The other thing that we're planning to do, and actually Bashir Bhai and I talked about it maybe 3 months ago, and again, just because we're just doing too many things, we kind of dropped it for now. But he's actually going to write to Andy Street, who's the mayor of Birmingham, and we want to make this part of kind of the UK's post-Brexit economic opportunity. So if we bring in the government or the regional mayors, we can get a lot of support from that. So and let me now, Bashir Bhai, let me hand it across to you. You can give your comments, and then we'll go to Professor Momin.
Thank you, Ifti. Thank you, everyone, joining in early morning from London. It's a brilliant arrangement, and thank you to Ifti arranging in very short notice. Actually, Momin Bhai, you know that during the crisis period, that UK retailers was not paying back the due. 2-3 of our members, especially the GIC, Mr. Fakhrul Islam, he passed away. He was an NRV, and actually he approached me. He was owning almost 11 million to Debenham. And then actually, before that, all RMG crisis actually dealt by our High Commission. And because now British Bangladesh Chamber of Commerce, we are a member of British Chamber of Commerce, London Chamber of Commerce, another 65 Chambers of Commerce. So we are highly integrated nowadays with the mainstream institution. And as you know, without the institution support, the government approach does not help too much within the private sector. You cannot influence them. You have to go through the institution. Then I approached British Chamber of Commerce and I said, look, a few of my members owning 11 million with Debenham, and they are not paying it. So they put unbelievably a legal team of few people and approach on behalf of us. And it was surprise of mine and out of my dream. Within 4 weeks, they paid 6 million back to him. And that was really the point came back. And when he explained me about that, how vulnerable they are signing with those supply chain within the United Kingdom, in the world. And I was telling him, why not? You don't have any clause of international clause of arbitration also. He was explaining me, we don't have opportunity to do so. They was pushing us so, pressing us so much. So then it came to my mind, and I approached Andy Street, the Midland, the mayor. And he says, this is an excellent idea. Look, Indians are doing same like a TRS. All the spice, actually, they bring it from India and assemble it here. And with the British tag, they are sailing it. In that period, I did not have in mind the e-commerce technology, because if they put it all through. So then yesterday, I already sent a letter to RMG, a letter to Andy Street. He just re-elected again. And I told him, you recall, I approached you about this, and RMG sectors of Bangladesh are interested. And I'm waiting for that was again idea of IFTI to arrange a Zoom call with him, and then maybe face-to-face meeting. So there are huge opportunities actually exist in within the United Kingdom, and government, due to Brexit scenarios, they are giving lots of institutional facilities, subsidies to any investors coming from this. So Ifti and myself, I thought, let's take it, and we was very much encouraged by your support as well. And most important thing, that we have all the institutional support, including the government support of Bangladesh and United Kingdom. So I think this is the right time to consider B2C clothing online retail platform here, like a warehousing, logistic, distribution network. And as you know, maybe if they mention it, there are lots of the SIG distribution networking company existed now in this country for sale. So platform is there. And I believe this is the right time to approach such a the B2C RMG, and we are here to help you and support you all the way. I will come back again if you have any specific questions, and Ifti to you again. Thank you.
So thanks, Bashir Bhai. Yeah, I think that the other thing, Momin Bhai, and then I'll then get your thoughts, is it might be that we again think about things in two tracks. One is the actual platform itself. So we have to create the platform from logistics and the whole end-to-end process, that there can be we can raise money and have an ownership structure around that between British Bangladeshis and garment companies. And then once that platform's created, then other RMG companies can come and sell through that platform. So it doesn't mean that everybody, I think having 20 companies trying to set up a platform together, forget BGMEA, even like 10, 15, 20 companies, you know better than me, trying to get 20 Bangladeshi companies to agree to a certain strategy is going to be, a mission impossible, Tom Cruise. So I think that, I think we can keep those things separate, but I think we can start with, I think, Pride Group and maybe one or two others. Once we understand, let's start the selling process and what is the process for setting up the UK brand, I think others will probably want to come on board, because the opportunity is self-evident. It's just that there's kind of I think strategic grayness as to how to move forward. But let me now hand across to you, Momin Bhai, and get your thoughts, please.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ifti. Thank you, Bashir Bhai, and everybody else. It's a pleasure meeting you all. You have mentioned so many things, so I have to touch upon, maybe go a little bit on the presentation that you have shown us, and then my involvement there, and what was my experience so far, etc. So I'll try and touch upon everything. It might take a bit longer. The whole thing, the idea of the marketplace came during pandemic, when it first hit, and total order cancellation in Bangladesh was like $5.2 billion. At that time, I was a member of the BGME board. We were in that board till April of this month, 4th of April this month. So I proposed to the president. My nephew told me one day that somebody came to him and wanted to buy everything at a discount of 75% of the cancelled order that we were having. Somebody came to say, okay, give me this at 25% of the FOB value, I'm going to buy. So he said, this is criminal. So on the one hand, you have canceled the order, and the other hand, you are offering me 25% of the price to buy this thing. So I said, he said, it's criminal, and why can't we have this on our own and sell it in a global marketplace? So that, these are all international products that are meant for the world. Why can't we sell it? So I proposed to the president then that, why can't we have a online marketplace? But saying or talking about an online market, I understand fully the timing is very right. We have all the capabilities. We can connect these people. Technology is, as you mentioned, is not a big issue. Logistics can be subcontracted or hired, meaning you don't have to have your own facility. It is all true, but putting it together and somebody is a huge thing. It's not an easy thing. What we see Amazon now is at least 20-30 years of work that has gone behind it, and billions of dollars of investment now. So we tried to talk about amongst ourselves. You met with Sharif. We had another discussion regarding Sharif Brand Forum, talking similar things with them in the United States. And you mentioned, I think you had a meeting with Ananta, Sharif. Ananta is like another manufacturer. So my initial idea of the then President Dr. Rubana Haq was that, why don't few of us get together and do it and keep BGMA? The reason BGMA was kept in mind is because government would trust BGMA then over an individual or individual company, because there are certain support required for the Bangladeshi part from the government, because this is very technical to explain. We bring in everything, raw materials duty free, and we have to export. Once we export, we have to bring in the profit within a certain period of time. But when you are selling it online, there is no guarantee that it's going to be sold. It is not pre-sold goods. So you might get paid, and you might sell it at $10, the initial price, or you might discount it further at $1.1. So government would ask $10 from you, because that is what the price that they thought it was going to be sold at. So there are so many issues that needs to be corrected, or the government mindset has to change, the policy reform has to take place. Those are on this part of the story. But having a platform, as you rightly mentioned, that customers are used to now an overnight delivery. They want a seamless service. They want, impeccable, customer reviews and all of that, etc. All of these are very important. So that is a huge issue going forward, to have that kind of, it has to be somebody's baby in a association sort of format, or a cooperative society sort of format. It is not going to work. That was the initial idea, to have BGMA to own it. So after a few months of exercise, having several meetings, etc., I had a presentation with the honorable advisor to the Prime Minister, Mr. Salman F. Rahman. There was a big presentation, and he asked me very critical questions, and then we answered those things. And later on, so that's one part of the story. And I don't think that kind of an initiative is going to work with the association setting. It has to be one company, one individual, a few individuals will have to decide that this is the marketplace that we want to create. We want to do whatever kind of investment is required, we will do that. You have rightly pointed out, what we have seen in Beximco, it is the same thing with us in Pride Group, that we have got our designing capabilities, our products are world-class, and we are catering to the world-class retailers. All those high street retailers that you have, several of them are our customers, and it is our design that are being sold. It is our developed fabric that are being sold, because previously every 3 months we used to go with our presentation. Now it is every month we are sending them presentation and especially for Inditex, that is Zara and all, Zara, Bershka, Stradivarius, Pull&Bear. The work that we do, we are their vendors for like 27, 28 years now.
So actually, Momin, sorry to interrupt, if you can quickly, just also while you're on the subject, tell everybody, who are your customers currently? What products are being sold in the UK?
Okay, so right now, our customers, Zara is a Spanish company. There's probably the largest fashion retailer on earth right now. We have got Zara, Bershka, Stradivarius, Pull&Bear, Oysho. These are their brands. So we work with Zara, Pull&Bear, Stradivarius, Bershka. We are working with them regularly. So we have been their vendor for almost 27, 28 years. So we our company, we start with yarn. That is, we have got we buy yarn, which is again mostly Bangladeshi, and then we make our own fabric. We process the fabric, that is dye, print, whatever, and then we make our garments and we sell it to these retailers. So other than, there are a lot of European companies that we work with. We work with French companies called Atom. We work with a French company called Televisal. We work with a French company called La Halle, and then Bonobo Cash. These are French. We are working with German companies like 2 or 3 German companies. I cannot recall the name. We have even all the Spanish companies that we are working with, and we are working with Italian companies called OVS. So they are having their retail presence in UK as well. I'm sure that on any high street, especially Oxford Street, you're going to find them all. So we also work with, earlier we worked with Next, we worked with River Island, that's UK, and those are our customers before, and few others, Debenhams we didn't work. So most of the time we work directly with the retailer, and many places there are intermediaries that bring in products for them, or their retailers. So in our case, we are providing nowadays for Inditex. You cannot secure a business unless you have your own designing capabilities. Inditex is the owner of Zara, so we have to present them with our qualities, with the developers. We are probably, they don't give a name to it, but we are one of their trusted vendors. So they share their mood boards with us. So from our mood board, we develop our design. So that means that is what they are thinking, that this is going to be the next trend. So they share it with us, and our designers work around their mood board and present them the designs that they want. That is how we are successful in selling our designs. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been possible, because there would be a huge disconnect. We would be thinking something, this is going to sell, but their planning is something else. That's why when they share their mood board, there's a high rate of success. And they won't share a mood board to anybody unless you are one of their trusted vendors. So because sharing the mood board is telling the others that this is what I'm planning. Once they buy the design, it becomes their design. I cannot claim any of the ownership of the design. It becomes their design. So coming back to the reasoning why, so the capabilities like this are there with many, not I would say some vendors. It's not handful, it is not a large number, but there are some vendors in Bangladesh who has got this kind of capabilities. Our specialty is knits. So we do only knitwear, but there are denim companies, there are shirt companies, there are bottom companies, separate vendors. So in a marketplace, specific brand has to have their own identity of what they would like to portray their customer. The brand has to have an identity. So I'm sure in a marketplace, there will be, if you target an audience, for example, Boohoo is a marketplace or a brand, I don't know. There's a one type of people going in there. For a brand, there is probably again individual's personality and the brand's personality has to match. That is why the individual shops in that particular brand. So in a marketplace, there has to be many brands catering to various personalities that are there in the market. So there is a huge research required, that what are the kind of brands that needs to be on the marketplace, what are which target audience, because you're going to promote your marketplace also. So all of these thoughts came into us when we talked more and more about it, and we realized that it is not that easy a task. Having said that, again, there is a huge success story in the UK itself. It's called it's a sportswear company. This boy was 19-year-old when he started. He was a pizza delivery boy, and now it's a $1 billion company. And Gymshark, yes. And the success is 4 or 5 years. Within that time he does. This is a US, UK company. This success, and they're 100% online. So as I'm saying this, that's one way. There's a huge potential, and at the same time there are successes. At the same time, it's a painstaking, long drawn, highly focused kind of an activity, highly capital intensive, labor intensive, emotion driven activity, which needs to be engaged. We need to have an engagement like that.
I have one other question, Momin Bhai, while just on you on that subject. So I think another quick observation is that there is a, let's say, complexity, but one has to navigate that, which is that balance between the design you're doing for your existing customers, B2B, and going B2C. So that is a complex process to navigate, I'm sure, for you as in terms of your existing businesses, how to not risk or alienate your existing customer base, but also come up with new ones. So it'd be good to hear your thoughts on that, because that was something I think every major garment manufacturer is going to be thinking about. And that was one of the reasons why historically, at least I heard, why did Bangladesh RMG stay in B2B and not go B2C?
I think there are a few reasons. I don't know how much time we have for this call, and
no, we have as much time as we need, Momin Bhai. It's a very I mean, sorry, not to die, but what you said at the beginning, it was a bit like, I also thought, you know what, people are asking for business plans and other things, but actually it's just incredibly, I mean, we're doing so many things, but this in itself is a massively challenging, complex thing. It's a huge opportunity, but it's not a trivial exercise. It's extreme, you can write a business plan and other things, but to actually take it to get success or to successfully launch, there's a lot of different processes. So I think please take your time, because it's important that we kind of, we move this thinking seriously into an actual implementation plan. we need to really cover all the bases. So please take your time.
Okay, so the reason Bangladeshi manufacturers couldn't go or stick to B2B, I would say there are many reasons. Number one, the factory design. So we were branded globally as a cheap labor country. So they came to us to buy the cheapest product that they want. So again, in a marketplace, be it virtual, be it physical, there are few segments, most, there are discounters at the bottom and there are boutique at the top and there are mid ranges in between. So the brand itself labels it, it in a particular market. For example, Lidl is a discounter, Asda is a discounter, George is a sort of a discounted product in an Asda store. So, and they go move upwards, then you will find, Marks and Spencer, next, and but they're in the mid range, and then you get somebody in the top. So all of them who is not a discounter bought their discounting products from us. Who is a discounter, he bought their discount, everything from us. So we had to specialize in larger capacity. So all our, that means if you look at your own kitchen, we are talking about a big pot cooking the dishes because they were large volume. So we had all our facilities created like that. That's one reason. And this is another strategy, of the companies. They made us do it because they know that this idle capacity we cannot keep. So they can push for any price. So and we cannibalize ourselves by adding more lines. So I at times jokingly say that they are still the East India companies. Only thing is the product has changed from Neil, Neil chash korto, to garment. And they used to use lashes, for making the product. Now they have got discounts as the lashes and air freight as the lashes. And so this is the same thing, and we don't have that advantage. The reason you are saying that, why can't we impose a stipulation in the contract? Normally, these are all one-sided contracts, and we just have to okay it. We just have to accept it. So that's another. So there's not much bargaining strength on the part of the local manufacturers. So what I'm saying, one of the big reasons is the capacity. Number two, your question was, when I'm doing design, whether I'm going to be in competition with my customer. I think, first of all, my customer should not know that I'm trying this. Okay. And my business with my customer should continue as it is. And number two is that, we will have our own research. We'll try to pick a segment. We'll operate within that segment and create our strength around that segment. Let's say, for example, we are a knitwear manufacturer. We do fast fashion. We'll probably focus on, let's say, leisure wear. So that's a home kind of, let's say, that's a narrow area. My buyer is doing on a larger scale. Whenever you go online, so I was just explaining the other day, in a pyramid, if you have a pyramid and slash it horizontally into 3 segments, the top one is a triangle and the bottom 2 are 2 trapeziums. The bottommost trapezium for a regular retailer is a discounts or like basics, etc. The medium tier is the, let's say, they call NOS, never out of stock, etc. The top triangle is their collection. So when you walk to a shop, when you walk by the window, you stop at the mannequin. That's the window stopper. They buy these products from Turkey, from Italy, from Morocco and places like that. When you walk into the shop, the floor area, we see there's a big area where they have got 20% off, 30% off. These products are made in countries like us. What you look around the wall is collection. Some of them are made by us and many of them are made by Chinese. All right. So this is how they have actually distributed their sourcing based on which country, what to buy from which country. So that is how they want. So even if I can make everything, they're not going to buy it from me. They've labeled me that I'm going to buy only basics from you or only NOS from you, or I'll buy some collection. it is taking a lot of time for us over the years to move from within that individual brand to move up the ladder to go to the collection, etc. For an online, the pyramid is just reversed. So the top line is collection. So the basics are very minimum. So that means you have to produce tons of design and continuously keep on doing designing, and the depth of each of these designs will be much less, meaning they are not making a lot of quantities. So there are a lot of production that has to take place. So that means shorter lead time, smaller run, and smaller quantities. So that's something, again, not the capacity, not the strength of Bangladeshi brands or Bangladeshi manufacturers. So that's why, and again, that for having such variety of product, we also need variety of raw material, and we are specializing in, let's say, 20 different kinds of fabric where there are thousands of them. So in China and Italy and all of these places, thousands of them. So again, if you have to buy the raw material from overseas and then get it stitched, etc., so there's a lead time issue. So these are the areas these are the reasons, besides the finance, besides the brick and mortar shops, physical shops, besides the large investment that was required to be a retailer. So now with online, one thing is gone. You don't have to have that huge investment of brick and mortar shops. They do good in the good times. They go bankrupt in the bad times. The reason is there's huge investment that is there, the huge fixed cost that is there, right? So that is where I was looking at an online marketplace. At an online marketplace, those fixed costs are less if when you are successful and running. When you talk about Amazon, my little experience with Amazon is not also so great, because Amazon is also sucking everything out of you. Meaning there is a fulfillment charge, there are online promotion within, there are so many charges that are there within the Amazon. If you're successful, then they give you and these are all algorithm built and etc. etc. So how they are doing it, what they are doing it, they only know. So and again, if you are having, the rating by the customer is important. And if the rating goes down at one point, they'll just close down your shop. So there's something
you're kind of hostage, to
Amazon.
It's the same as Deliveroo and Just Eats in the restaurant sector in the UK.
Yeah.
Or DoorDash,
Yeah. So that's why I'm saying that we have to actually think not so big. We have to think at a manageable size. We have to think within our community. We have to think of few products and we have to gradually, step by step build it and take our experience there. And somebody like now, if Bashir Bhai and few of his friends decide about the marketplace, we can support that as a vendor, we can support, and we create our own branding. If he wants to be the brand owner, the marketplace, the supplier and everything, he can do it, but it's not going to work. He has to specialize on the marketplace. He has to specialize, and he has to be. I will be a vendor only, a brand name owner, and I will support whatever is required in his shop. So there can be many such people like us who can, and they may or may not be from Bangladesh. The branding, as you rightly say, even if we target ethnicities, there are many ethnicities within the UK community. So that would be a specialized, you are not fighting in a crowded place. You are fighting in a niche. So for that, let us say you have got African population. You source African products from Africa. But Chinese population, you buy Chinese population, and you buy Indian and subcontinental population products from us. So that kind of ethnicity base, if you think that, then you are performing in a narrow area. I'm just giving my thoughts. So you can only focus on Bangladeshi community. We can only focus on, subcontinental or NRBs, NRIs, NRCs, NRPs, like that. So now we can focus on them. So that is something we can do. If you look at if you look at the world as your market, so that there is lot of crowding there, and and you have to have a special niche. And believe me, fashion is not an easy thing to do. So it is not an easy thing to do. And and there are many options available to a customer. So, and you have to entice them. So that's why I'm saying that we have to find that narrow area to see some success. And then when we see those success, we can build around that. And that would be my initial thoughts on this. So again, so what I'm trying to say is that a cooperative venture is not going to work. I mean, don't worry about the Bangladeshi regulations. When we succeed, there will be automatically regulation changes, because government will want more and more, exports to happen. So there those. I'm not currently worrying about the Bangladeshi regulation. I think the marriage or the connection has to be there between, like, we have strengths in our own capacity, each one of us. So we have to put those strengths together in a narrow area and try and do that. That is how we should not risk $1 billion, $1 million to begin with. So you have to gradually build it out. I would say that let me leave it here, and then if you've got further any queries, or anything, I can respond to that. So my initial thought was, when I spoke in the last CXO thing, I thought right now we have this brand Pride is very well known in Bangladesh. We are from one corner to another, everybody knows us as a textile brand. Products are reasonably good. And
how many retail stores do you have in Bangladesh? I've seen you have some, right?
We have 70. 70
retail stores. I didn't realize it was so big. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and then of that, we have temporarily, there's a new strategy that we are thinking. Previously, we were known only for saris. So we are now making a lifestyle. So we have temporarily closed during pandemic around 29 or 30, but we will be relocating them and in a bigger space with more departments. So we are going to do home. Currently, we do ladies, men's, children. We are going to add homes, and it is going to be a holistic lifestyle that we are going to offer. So what I'm trying to say is that you have in your country, if you from Pakistan, there's a company called Khadi. I have seen the showroom in Manchester. What is that dome-like mall called in Manchester? The one which has got domes in it. Right. There's huge mall.
I know which one you mean. I've not been to Manchester, but I know which one it is. The main shopping center in Manchester.
Yeah, there's near the airport. I think it's
Arndale Centre or something. I can remember, but
yeah. So I've seen a Khadi there in as well. So currently, the products that we make are world class in terms of the styling, designing products, etc. And if you go to a Khadi shop and see those products, if you look at Satyapal, and if you look at a few of our products in Pride, you will see that we are comparable. So, and price-wise also, every dimension. So I was just wondering that if this is a ready, brand. We have got a digital content, we have got a Facebook page, we have got a online retail. So there's not much this is a continuous process. We've got a team working on it. So I was thinking that how can we connect to our customer base in UK? So that could be a starting point. So I don't know, Mohan Bhai, Hakim Bhai, could you kindly?
We'll share we'll create a WhatsApp group and also the emails. And then in fact, I was just looking. I'm just going to give you some immediate thoughts, and then bring Vashabhai and maybe some of the other people on the call get their thoughts. So if I share, this is Khadi UK. So this is the Khadi, I think what you're talking about, right? This is the Khadi, I think. Khadi collection.
Yes.
But they have uk.khadi.com.
Yeah.
So this is their Pakistani, I guess, ethnic clothing.
Yes.
Brand. The other thing I wanted to show, can you see the screen about Amazon?
Yeah, I see that screen, yes.
So actually, when we went to Beximco, I remember we were, CEO Yellow was showing us that Beximco, maybe you do, but they take part in these influencer viral fashion.
We do have influencers for Bangladesh. We do use them for Bangladesh.
This is for the US. So basically, they were showing us what Beximco is doing now is they so every every day virtually, but it's only every week, but every day virtually, Amazon in the US and I guess other countries, but there were many showing as the US. So that Amazon influencers, they basically, the influencer gets online, they do a whatever TikTok video, YouTube, whatever it's going to be, Facebook post, and market a particular fashion item.
Yeah.
And then that fashion item is then made by Bex & Co. And it's only sold for like, I think 1 week, 30 days.
Yes.
2 weeks, and then it's sold. So it's kind of I guess it's their experiment into
I
doing
think
fast
that is again an Amazon venture. That is not a
No,
big
I'm just saying, I know that's an Amazon venture. And at the time, I remember that when we went in November, they showed us this, and it was a very exciting concept, and I understood it. But
Yeah,
then,
sorry for the interruption.
please.
What Amazon is trying to do, this is also the critics of Amazon say, if somebody is doing good, they have got all the intel for that, who is selling what. So they create their own line around that, and that's their own brand, and they let the other one die and they one succeed. And Beximco becomes a vendor, or anyway, they can also come to us to make these products for them. So and it's the shortest lead time. That means we are doing almost daily work, and shipping it by air.
I don't think it's something. I mean, it's another interesting like retailing strategy. I think that in fact, even after November, when we had these discussions, I remember in December that I had left for London, but somebody else came back to me and said that Amazon India is very aggressive in Bangladesh. I was having some discussions even in December and January, and they were saying Amazon India office is responsible for Bangladesh. They're coming in and giving all these incentives to Bangladeshi RMG companies. And I think at the time they were telling me, look, if they don't waste your time on this because you can't compete against Amazon's $1 trillion company, blah, blah, blah. I said, well, that's true, but that's true of everything. They're a $1 trillion company because they take advantage of everybody. I mean, it's like Deliveroo or Just Eat. So, but I think that Mohan Bhai, I mean, we have a lot of things. So if I can just maybe split it down into my kind of, humble suggestion as to how we can move forward. So, and then get Bashir Bhai and maybe some other people who have been, maybe Sunny or Irfan have any thoughts. But firstly, I think the low-hanging fruit, I agree with you. Let's split it into 3 processes, just because it's complicated. So low-hanging fruit is, the 3 things are ethnic clothing, British Bangladeshi, to the British Bangladeshi, or to ethnic clothing to the UK. It doesn't just have to be British Bangladeshi, you can start there. So ethnic clothing from Pride and others into the UK. That's one component. Second component is the whole delivery logistics process platform. So what is the actual platform from manufacturer to customer buying? We have to map that out carefully and think through how is that going to work. And that's what we're doing anyway, what Bashir Bhai is doing for the fruit and vegetables and that marketplace for Bangladeshi products into the UK. There's no real difference. I mean, in terms of the shipping, logistics, these other things. Then the third component, which I think has to be done in parallel, is the process of how to create a global brand that's going to be sold in the UK. That is a complex process. And I think that maybe that's something that happens in parallel, because the selling of your products, Pride Group products, into the UK customer base through a platform, it's nothing straightforward, but that's not a complexity. It's more just managing the process, working out the pricing, having a nice website, having the right marketing strategy, and go ahead and do it. Creating a Boohoo or a Zara or whatever kind of brand that is manufactured by Pride, for example, and some others. Are you focusing, as you very correctly said, are you focusing? Sunny and I were talking about this last night, actually. So we were talking about exactly the same thing. He sent me the ASOS website and other websites. He was saying, actually, when he looked at it, he was saying, actually, at the moment, Pride won't resonate in the UK, because if you look at the website and other things. And I said, yeah, that's the same issue with Yellow and Bex & Co. That's that's the, how do we move forward to that? So all the way from, the first thing is the brand itself. What is you're targeting younger consumers, teenagers, people in their 20s? Are you targeting sportswear, active consumers? What are you actually targeting? You have all the products. Then once you have that, once you identify that segment, how do we create the brand? What is our marketing strategy? How can you do a cost optimized marketing strategy that one doesn't have millions of dollars to invest to do that? All of these things. But I think we can identify that. and do it in parallel. If the first business, which is your existing ethnic clothing line, starts selling, that generates cash flow. It helps us to learn the whole selling process into the UK and so on. So I think these three things, the platform itself, the ethnic sales or British, all of the things you already manufacture into the UK, these are the things we can start with. And in parallel, I think that we have to have some blue sky thinking about, and as you absolutely say, as both as an entrepreneur, as a business school professor, when you're dealing in a trillion-dollar marketplace, multi-trillion-dollar marketplace, there are lots of complexities, and not being, I think you have to be ambitious, but not over-ambitious.
Yeah.
So one has to say, okay, launching, like say, when I say you have to be ambitious and realistic. So say what Yellow has done in Canada. When we looked at Yellow Canada, it's like, I don't even know why they're bothering to do it. It's like, probably because I understand Mr. Navid's family is based in Canada. That's why they say Yellow in Canada. But if you actually look at the Yellow Canada site and their marketing campaign, it's pretty amateurish. And all that happens is that when consumers go onto Yellow site in Canada, they think, this is some Bangladeshi company that's just set up in Canada. It doesn't resonate with Canadian, any consumer segment, except maybe some people who want to buy, ethnic products from Yellow. So I think these are maybe the three areas that we can focus on, and we can identify what is the way forward. Sorry, Mumbai, you're going to say something, please. Yeah,
I'm saying, if you want to be a global brand, like you mentioned, like to be a Zara or to be a ASOS or somebody, you have to engage proper, marketing and proper, what should I say, research behind it to understand what market, where is the strength, like, for example, during this pandemic, I got his contacts, I can name his name. He came up with an idea that he sold 100-pound boxes to customers, bought it from Bangladesh with a promise to pay a portion of it to the people who actually made it.
Yeah.
And this, I forgot his name. I will find it out from my. We had a lot of context during that time, and he did actually sold some million boxes, 100,000 boxes like that, and it was shipped out of Bangladesh. So they partnered with an NGO and actually parted a portion of their proceeds to support it. So it went to the customer's mind that I'm not only buying this product, I'm doing a fair deal to the people who actually built it. Then recycle polyester, recycle yarn, and all of those things are there, doing things, doing things good to the nature. So those are some, USP that you have to attach to your whatever brand.
There's a niche and CSR type areas, but I guess what I'm really saying is that if you, in terms of creating a mainstream brand in the UK, we started the conversation today, you giving me as an example about this guy who's 19 and created a business in 4 or 5 years just by his own innovation and intuition. So if he can do it without a huge budget, other people can do it. I think the thing is to, find
that area, right area.
You have to find the right area. It might be we have to think outside the box. So I think where I completely agree with you, doing it in a cost and risk managed way is key. For example, maybe we have a massive British Bangladeshi. Pathfinder itself, one of our goals is to engage with youth, with younger generation. So we can also get input and feedback. We want to train young people to be marketers, to be maybe brand creators. We can run competitions to understand, and surveys amongst our community to understand what will, not Bangladeshi ethnic products, just what actually will work. So we can pick a particular area. I think
Sunny has got something to say.
Yeah, please, Sunny, go ahead. Would you like to jump in, Sunny? You'll be listening. You and Hakim are fun.
No, thanks. It's really interesting and it's really good to hear from the other side, because obviously I've been on this side. So I'm a person that's shopped in Zara, shopped in Next, shopped in River Island, and Zara is one of my favorite brands, to be honest. And I always saw made in Bangladesh, and always in my head, I thought, okay, all these products are made in Bangladesh. So clearly we have the expertise, clearly we have the experience, yet there is nothing that Bangladeshi own that stands out or screams at you or anything like that. So so I think it's about time. It's a good initiative that we start something. And the other thing also, yeah, and the other thing also, obviously, you know, these big companies, like Professor Mohammed said, you know, you have to accept whatever the contract is. When you're dealing with this sort of suppliers, is always, well, majority of them, that is the case. But I think what we can do, there's a few things we can do. And although my background is not fashion or clothing, but I have been involved in loads of different businesses. Also, 2 years ago, I helped a girl in Newcastle. I'll show you the brand. I have helped her. Basically, it's a small clothing business in Newcastle. So all she done is she was a Miss Newcastle. So what she did, she used her profile to build this brand, and she came to me, and I helped on the business side of it. But she came up with the design and everything else. If I can show you, this is a very small clothing business. However, if you look at the design of it, and Pride and the other companies are so much bigger. Yet, if you look at this small turnover, 70, 80,000 a year, nothing. I don't know if you can see this. And if you see, and this is a small turnover business, just in Newcastle, that she created it, she does the designing, and then she gets it made afterwards. So, and it does well in Newcastle. You know, she's got a few people that all the well-known people in Newcastle, she got them to wear the product and take pictures and share it on social media and things like that. So that's just one example. But from this conversation, this is what I get. Okay, so you have the experience and skills to make the product. So all we need to do on here, on our side, is come up with what's coming, what's the latest fashion, what is going to be the next thing, and then give you those ideas and you can build them, and then we do the other side of it. On the other thing also, regarding the Hadi and ethnic, I think again it's something there is. I'll say, yeah, let's have a Bangladeshi company in a decent size wise doing ethnic clothing. However, I don't think this is a big enough market for what we are trying to achieve, I think. So therefore, there's a few things we can take away from here. I think we can create a creative team here that comes up with what's coming next, and then give you the mood board, and then you can do your bit after that. Or we can also, create a like Gymsharks, or we, concentrate on one sector or one area, that is sports or fashion or gentleman or classic, whichever we decide to do, and then we explore that as well. So there's there's a few things we can do, but it's important if we're doing it, and if we're marketing for UK and US and Europe market, the looks and feel and the marketing, it has to be right, and it has to be that standard. Just the reason I showed you this is because that's only took 20,000-30,000 to set up, and you've seen the quality of the videos, the whole marketing of it is amazing. So we do it in a bigger scale. We need to make sure that side is good.
Sorry, Mumbai, you want to say something?
Absolutely, no doubt, no. I would say I'm 100% in agreement with Sunny. Whatever, if you want to do something for the Western market, that's what I said. You have to do your own research. Like there has to be a promotional company, a market research company. What is going to sell? What products? There are two things to it. There are official research organization that we subscribe to know what is the next trend, what is the color, what is that for Europe. We subscribe to those, and they give, and there's a big company, and from there we get the inspiration for the next season, etc. So that is already there. We know where to subscribe, depending on which market that you are focusing on. All of those information is there, and there's a proper research being done all over the world, and they dictate, they predict fashion, and they predict colors, they predict first buy season, and we subscribe to that. So that is not the issue. The issue is which is like the market that we're going to be in. What will be our strength? Can we, and then how to promote in that market? For that, you need that localized knowledge. That we don't have here sitting in Bangladesh. How to promote it? You need European companies, you need British companies to support us in that kind of a thing. So looking at this young lady's line, it came to my mind that if we can do the talent hunt also over there, bring some talents, and take from there the input. And there are Instagram celebrities these days. So you engage, that is a target audience. She belongs to that own target market. She is a model that, and I think she herself is a model. Okay, she's modeling herself, and she is targeting a customer like her and who wants to be like her. She is the inspiration of her. I just have to take this call.
Yeah, please. In fact, while we're waiting, I think that
I think if they Hanan Bhai, you are absolutely right, and that let us think to start somewhere, and also bear in mind that we have a 600,000 plus population, 130,000 household in this country, plus we can go for another 600, almost a million people around Europe, only 19 nautical mile from here. So I think that to start something collectively, and of course you need lots of understanding, research about this thing, to start somewhere slowly and then integrate in larger way. That would be the best.
I think we can probably. After this call, I think Tori is going to prepare some meeting notes, and then I'll review that. Then we'll basically. And we will start creating some specific plans around these different areas. I think, but on the influencer market, but even understanding, as Pashiva was saying, we're in any case through Pathfinder going to be running a number of youth engagement programs and also digital skills, digital content creation, digital marketing type programs through Pathfinder. So it's almost like that very nicely fits in with what we're trying to do here. We just have to, give a clearer focus towards the I think, Irfan, did you want to say anything on the technology side, or I know you'll just be listening patiently, and then it would be good to hear from Sumbal as well after that.
Yeah, I'll just summarize it. There are 3-4 points. From a technical point of view, I think it's better that we just come up with the platform, our e-commerce platform, which should be able to handle the deliveries and get the order done. Definitely it's but most important part is what I believe is having a proper warehouse management so that the product can be delivered on time. And the target market, we can, as I agree with Bashir Bhai, I agree with Sunny, that we can start straightforward from Bangladeshis. We have enough Bangladeshis here in UK. So the initial, and it should be a mall kind of stuff rather than a specific brand. So we can brand the e-commerce site itself like for example the Bangladesh store, for example. It can be a specific brand. Under that there can be multiple brand like Pride, YOLO, and other who can start joining in that market and start selling their product. Then it becomes much more easier. I mean, you are not dependent on 10 different organizations to come together. You can just start. We can just start with Pride and I've been born and brought up in Bangladesh. I know that the saris and pride are very popular in Bangladesh. So I believe women who are living here, they'll be also happy. They can buy the same thing here. But it's, and we, with a very low cost, we can start moving with that. Then we can start introducing designers or business research team who can understand the market, can start suggesting new design. But whatever already exists in Bangladesh, even if that we bring here properly online and start selling within the Bangladeshi community, that can be a very easy and quick start. That's my suggestion.
Yeah, in fact, a moment by, I was going to say that Irfan is currently, I mean, for Infinity, our main first big project, I think I mentioned on Saturday, is like a digital transformation, a 12-month digital transformation project for one of the biggest cash and carries. So wholesalers in the UK called Demetria. So all the way from so inventory management systems, digital marketing, loyalty point systems. So loyalty points is another really big differentiator, big tool. So we have all of those components that we're implementing for this cash and carry. So we have a lot of those technologies, and we're actually in the UK implementation. So we can innovate on technology quite quickly. I think Sumbal, it'd be good to hear from you as well. You've been listening very patiently.
Assalamualaikum Mufti Bhai. Actually, today is our last working day.
Okay, so you're quite running around the factory.
We're just wrapping up. I'm kind of in the middle of like multitasking at the moment, trying to listen in on the conversation.
Don't worry.
But I mean, what I was able to piece together, I mean, there was really nothing much for me to add, but I've had numerous conversations with Hakim Shaib, and as well, we've met with several other interested individuals who really want to take the Made in Bangladesh brand and, kind of scale that up, not just, products under a different brand name, but promote the Bangladeshi brand globally. We were in fact talking about it just today. I think I can only speak to what hurdles that we faced, and from a perspective of like last mile delivery, warehousing, when it comes to also, payments, and these are some of the things that we really need to look into solving quickly to really, ease the process of, I'm really emboldened by the fact that Khadi, being a homegrown Pakistani brand, is catering to the diaspora with the products that it has. It hasn't really made anything other than ethnic wear. It's easy to be like, all right, I need to tap into this market, and I'm going to make the products that appeal to them. Like McDonald's is in every country that McDonald's is in, they cater to the local market by creating a burger that suits the tastes of the country. Khadi hasn't had to do that because their products are appealing. They know who the target market is, and they've just gone ahead with that. So I don't really agree to the fact that ethnic wear won't be successful or ethnic wear won't be popular. We just need to know how to target the audience that we already target. But it's just the diaspora. That's all I really have to add. I was listening piece by piece. I'm sorry if I haven't actually grasped the whole conversation, but was just listening here and there. Apologies for that.
No, I appreciate, and I know how busy it is, and at the factory side as well. So thanks for listening in. I think Hakim Bhai, did you want to say anything before we wrap up?
Actually, everything is covered. Everything is covered. We understand the market and challenges we need to face, and groundwork we need to do. As I have been involved in the clothing business for last more than 10 years in the UK, and I have 2 warehouses at Hanon Business Park, and we are also involved in online business with Amazon and eBay platform, and we have the setup and the manpower to do the job, starting from the listing to actual dispatch and the accounting for the proceeds we receive from them after deducting their commission and other things. So I can actually contribute in this respect from my experience in future if we proceed. So I will be one of the part. If you think so, I can share my experiences. But at this moment,
yeah. You were saying that you have 2 warehouses in Haino in Essex.
Yes, right.
Yeah, and that, so at the moment you're importing garments from Bangladesh and then selling on Amazon in the UK.
Our main sales are coming from wholesale to the retailer, but we are also doing the online e-commerce using Amazon and eBay platform, which shops in different names.
Are these ethnic clothing, or they're you know, like
No, it is not ethnic clothing. No,
general brands? So and so do you, I mean, you're sourcing from Bangladeshi factories. Is it like overruns, or is it stuff that's specifically, like, what kind of stuff are you buying?
Actually, what we do, sometimes we buy cancellation for wholesale, and sometimes we actually produce in our own level from the leftover fabrics. So we convert the leftover fabrics after export to real garments in our own level.
Right, right.
So
Okay.
that is the way we are buying, and we are also selling at the price.
No, that's great. So I think that what we can, I don't want you know, everybody to keep everybody too long. So I think we've covered a lot of different areas. I think that maybe what we can do is, as I said, I mean, we'll have a follow-up call. I think Nafis, Tori, and Tokyo from my HE Capital team in Bangladesh. So it's good to have the Bangladesh team can also coordinate and liaise with initially with Pride and with others in garments manufacturing in Bangladesh. I think what we can do is, after this call, we can start, like, you know, mapping out what are the immediate things that can be done in the next 3, 6, 9 months without much resource investment. So I think that I think in any case, as I said, the e-commerce platform we're you know, Bashir Bhai is setting up with a group of others. That's a natural thing to start with. We can think about what the dedicated e-commerce platform will look like. We can, you know, I'll map out a few things that we can do immediately. Then maybe some of the more, let's say, phase 2 things, or creating your own brand. So, Mohammed Bhai, you put your hand up. So
yeah, I mean, I was thinking that you're already wrapping it up. Before
Yeah,
you
please.
wrap up, I would
please
make few more comments
please.
on the whole thing. First of all, you know, what Sani has mentioned, that you have to market the product in the right way, you know, so to the right audience. So if you are looking at a product, Western product, I mean, our product for the world, depending on whichever segment that you have chosen, that I do not disagree. 100% you have to do it that way. And the mind, you know, when you wanted us to talk to a British Bangladesh Chamber of Commerce, I was thinking that this is already a huge population, and with enough buying power, we can start working here with, if Khadi is successful, Khadi is probably, if you want to do a research on Khadi, what they are selling in, you know, Birmingham or Manchester or London is probably to the Indian and Pakistani and Bangladeshi diaspora. Not, and if there is 2-3% sell, probably going to a white or a ethnic black or some other kind of a person. That's not the target audience. The target audience is this. And for that, whatever the campaign that they run in Pakistan or in, this is unique. This is the campaign that they run over there. The lady in London, who is got a Bangladeshi or a Pakistani or an Indian origin, wants to be like that model in Pakistan or in India, the way it has been portrayed. You know, what they do is they make a collection of 20 to 30 dresses. They go to a spot and then they do the shoot. And that is in videos. That's a campaign. And that campaign is actually world class. We did the same thing for our own campaign. If you look at the last campaign, we did it in a 5-star hotel, in a ancient, aristocratic 5-star Indian hotel, and not in a hotel room, in the in that was the backdrop, and we have used that kind of a model, and this is something we'll continue to do. And if we can connect the Bangladeshi community here, you see the tech part of it will be the same for whether you're selling ethnic product or you're selling gym wear or you're selling sportswear, or say the tech part of it, the logistic part of it will be the same. So you can learn it here within this community with 600,000 people that you said, with less household, etc., etc. You can learn it here and emulate the same experience elsewhere in the other markets. So that would be a smaller area to work with in the beginning, and manageable in everybody's capacity. And the other thing I would like to say is that there are Bangladeshi companies that have been very successfully doing online, not marketplace, online business. They are also a big time manufacturer. Their strength is designing from UK, and they have, we would probably know them also. He's a very known person with this retail community over there, and that is their own brand, and they have done it very well. And you cannot figure out it's a Bangladeshi company. It's made by Bangladeshis. Or
what is the company called?
I think it's called 99%.
99%. Okay.
So yeah. So and the products are very high end products. Okay, are very high end products.
It's called 99. Just
99. Just 99. So they're manufactured all in Bangladesh, designed in UK. So, and they have got a design experience and marketed for the UK audience. So, you can, I'm saying is that you don't have to have a marketplace or for many, many brands, then it becomes crowded, and then it becomes also, and not automatically you can have a marketplace going forward, but you can gain your experience here. I was just thinking this Avon model, long time back when I was a student myself in the US 34 years back, we studied the Avon case. What was it? There's an Avon lady. There was no retailing. There was no, high street shop, nothing. The entire cosmetic line was sold through various ladies. They were selling amongst their friends and families. And this is how the entire billion-dollar business was run by Avon ladies. So we can think of this kind of models also, if we can organize this within the Bangladeshi community to sell ethnic products. And, that is something, you can think of. So there, I would suggest that you think in this area, in this manner, and try, and you won't get lot of interested parties from government industry to straight away jump into it, because they are not willing, ready to take all of these challenges. They will come and jump in when they see a lot of people are successful in it. That is when they will come, not right now. So the initial pain has to be taken by people who are passionate about it. We are passionate because we have been doing it for the last 60+ years. So that's why we are passionate about it. We are going to put our blood and sweat in it, but not everybody is going to do that. So because they were going to jump in when they see success. So that's my, final comments. Now, how you want to proceed, you can think of it. I will not be, our company, since we are remote to UK, we can be the part here. We'll be very much interested to own a brand. We would like to collaborate in that manner, but having a marketplace, doing the rest of it, we need partners. We need somebody to do it. That is the kind. So the collaboration, and Bashir is already thinking of it in some manner. So it can also be designed nicely that there is a, like we already say, it could be a Marks and Spencer with a grocery downstairs and clothing line upstairs. It can be an Asda, or it can be something like Harrods. All of them are having from luxury clothing line to grocery. That's a physical shop. Now Bashir can think of a virtual shop like that. So, and he has to decide whether it has to be of Harrods or Marks and Spencer or Asda. So, and within that, the shop design and everything has to be again, dictated by research, followed by the professional input to design the thing like that. There can be a ethnic marketplace where people like us can have the clothing shops in there. So I don't know. So these are a few thoughts that I thought I must. I was thinking this is you're already doing. And one last thing. Last year, one of my colleague who is sort of who runs sort of an NGO, he gave me mangoes which were chemical free. And he ensured it that from the garden to my house, like that. So if you can, with the blockchain technology can support that. So this is something you can, again, there's a long run process. You can ask Bangladeshi farmers to do organic, to do, deshi fish, to do all of that and channel it like that in your grocery section. So the authenticity could be your tagline in that marketplace. So, authentic Bangladeshi sharis, authentic Bangladeshi jamdani, authentic, so these are a few things that authentic doi, authentic, mukta gachar manda, so this kind of thing you can, authenticity could be your tagline. And so I don't know, this is just an idea that
it's very interesting. You mentioned that actually Bangladesh government took an initiative to increase their vegetable and vegetable export. They have a quarantine center now. So all the mangoes actually directly from the tree coming to the quarantine center. So quarantine center government taking, this is very intelligently made with high-tech equipment, and so they can secure it that there is a process to wash it and the process it with hot water and things, and then you have to package in within their government territory, and then you can export it. So process is taken by government initiative, and that is the reason we with the mango we are talking about is like a similar one you mentioned. Is government will only certify that if it goes through their processing unit. You cannot buy from Karwan Bazaar and then export it anymore. So this is the government who took the initiative, and therefore I believe that would be good way to start from especially from the vegetables.
Who's your partner's name, Bashir Bhai, the former Commerce Secretary? I've forgotten.
Yeah, Aminul Haq. He was the Commerce Secretary earlier. I think by the moment I know him very well.
Yeah. So I think we can probably wrap up. Did you want to make any final comments, Bashir Bhai? Then I'll wrap up. So otherwise,
excellent conversations. We have covered all. I think as we all agree, we need to start somewhere and combine the ideas. We have the technology ready in house. So you design something. What is the best way we can work together as a team?
And then we can move forward. Yeah, no, I think so. Just to finish up. So I think that I think we're broadly agreed. We agree as well. Let's start low-hanging fruit, Pride products into the UK. So let's design that and integrate that with the fruit and vegetables plan anyway. So that I think we can work on immediately. I think on the platform logistics stuff, I think we have to just mapping out the process. Hakim Bhai already has his warehousing and experience. We can learn from what Hakim Bhai has already been doing and is currently doing in terms of importing the clothing and then selling in the UK. Then on the brand itself, I think that we do want to, I think, let's think a bit outside the box. So I want to reflect on it a bit. I think we can crowdsource ideas from the young British Bangladeshi community. They'll crowdsource design ideas, crowdsource digital marketing ideas, because those guys, these people who are, teenagers, early, they're not they don't think that they're not Bangladeshis, but they will be interested in opportunities for income generation, new ideas, something that's cool. So we can run competitions, we can generate ideas, we can start from a very large target audience. So they're both consumers, they can be customers and also idea generators, design idea generators for where we can start. So that I think is more complex. I think we, as I said, run that in a parallel process, maybe a sort of slower burning thing. And I think we can do it without, I think that other RMG companies have sometimes they spend a few $1,000,000 hiring a design company and doing this and that, and it ends up achieving zero. So I think spending lots of money, firstly, raising a big fund is complicated. But once we can launch products and services effectively in 2021 and into 2022, we can register a company in the UK that can be jointly owned, and we can raise money in the UK once we can, get traction. But I don't think even the design side, and that doesn't require I don't think it requires a huge budget. Sometimes having a huge budget often having a huge budget will not guarantee success. Mominbhai, if we say, hey, you have a $5 million budget, they can run Facebook campaigns and Google ads and blah, blah, blah. I don't know whether it'll be successful. I think we actually, if we just we deliver on this ethnic in 2021, but in parallel, we just think outside the box. What can we do that's different? We do a little bit of risk-managed experimentation. And then I think we can actually probably come up with something that will sell in the UK, which will be, let's say it's the Bangladesh-owned global brand or UK brand that will sell to, it can be for youth or for sportswear segment. So I think we can come up with a plan. So I think we're excited. So Mominbhai, you wanted to maybe make some final points?
I just want to not add, supplement. So I like the idea, if somebody is taking note, I like the idea of, picking the young brains for designing, designing the website to do the proper research for the target audience. And also I like the idea of slow burner on the site, that what can be our niche out of the box thinking for a product for the global market. So out of the diaspora, we can think of that. My only request to Bashir Bhai, if you are doing this online marketplace, and if you are thinking of selling grocery as well as clothing, you have to, as I was trying to think, you have to decide about a particular segment, either the Asda segment or the Marks and Spencer segment or the Harrods segment. Am I right in if I use these three examples as three different segments? Am I rightly saying it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes,
Marks and Spencer are Waitrose. So let's say the middle class audience. So one is
go for Waitrose, and just adding to what you just said, the buying capability for you and Sambal to understand the buying capability of the European Bangladeshi diaspora. As an example, some of the consumer item, we have a second largest buying capability within the ethnic minority in this country. Some of the consumer product is so huge. Like I give you one example. We consume 22 million pounds of pan every year in this country. Okay. So about the clothing, and we are a huge spender in one word. So that could add value, to our any initiative for the.
That's why I'm saying that whatever segment you choose, the designing of the site has to be like that. So the whole thing. So you have to, if you were to do a Marks and Spencer, if you were to do a Harrods, the way you do your grocery to your end product, you do that. So that is where, I think since they are high, spending capabilities, so you don't target the bottom one, you target middle to up like that. And that way you design everything, pick those young minds' brain, and then, do it in the right way. That way, being a part of it would be easier, because we are tired of selling things at cheap. We are tired of selling things, and we need to have our markups, and it can be only there if we are targeting a proper audience. So that is something I requested, and that is how we also upgrade ourselves. And we don't want to be in that, mind blocks that, it's a cheap product. I mean, this is, since we are kind of wrapping up, and if this is rightly, wrapping it up, I thought these are the points that I should add. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. I think that but coming back to I was just looking through the Khadi site. It's not bad, but it's not exceptional either, but they've done well. So the site is better than a Bangladeshi or Pakistani domestic site, but not yet to a UK top level standard. That's when I look through that. But those are not major expenses or expenditures. I mean, those are just a very simple design things. But I think that. But I was going to say that as far as the sorry, Sunny, you going to say something about?
Yeah, I just wanted to add this. What Professor Monbai said as well. I think, you know, if we're going for, and I think it's a good idea to go with something Hadi style, because that way we don't need to worry about the design side or what's coming or anything, because majority of the Bangladeshi or Pakistani or Indian people in UK, they actually look at back home for the fashion ideas, because Bangladesh and India is more advanced when it comes to Asian fashion thing. So that it is quite easily be able to launch like a Hadi style business. And I think it's sensible to gain experience to start with the Asian clothing, ethnic minority clothing. Yeah. I don't think you need to specify if it should be Marks and Spencer, Asda or Aldi, if it's just the Asian market, because Asian market, I think we can have the three different range as well, because like Bashir Uncle said, the buying power actually is quite good for us. And I mean, there will be times where, you know, if it's a wedding, they will buy £200, £300 outfit. If it's just for normal going out, probably spend £60-70. If it's for just normal wear, probably £10-20. So you can have full three ranges if we're going for a Hadi style thing. That's my thought, and I think that's it. That's a easy way of starting something in terms of, and then we.
I think that the whether something is £200 or £300 or £20, yes, of course, is the cost of the materials and the manufacturing process and so on. But we have to think, even in the ethnic area, how to create the website and the digital marketing and to create the right perception and image. And again, that I think is more a function of being thinking outside the box about what our digital marketing strategy should be. It's not necessarily about having a huge budget. And actually, I'll have to, so I'm glad to hear that you invested a lot of time and effort, Mumbai and Sumbul, on your, I'll have to look at your video. Maybe you can send me the link to your video campaign in the hotel, because again, when I looked at Yellow, which was the first one we focused on, I was kind of a bit disappointed sometimes how, I mean, for a company the size of Beximco, that their quality of their digital marketing and website, I think Tori, who's on the call, she also spent some time last November looking through all of the domestic Bangladeshi brands and their local websites and their local Facebook pages and their digital marketing campaigns, not really at an international standard, you know, when I look through it. So I think, but those again are not, it's not very expensive to do that. I mean, we're not talking about flying, you know, models in from New York or London into Bangladesh, and, or indeed flying a team. If things go well, we can of course invest. If we make money this year, we can always invest in local digital content creation and you know, good quality, you know, designs and so on from here. If that can be the next phase. But I'm glad, I'll look forward to seeing that, because I think that's gonna, that makes a big difference to the perceived quality and the branding. Okay. Oh, in fact, so someone was saying that your digital marketing and content creation is sourced from India, so that's good. So you can send us some links to that. So let's. I think we covered a lot today. We'll send some meeting notes and then come up with some specific plans. So for the e-commerce platform we're going to launch in the UK, we can. I mean, at the very, you know, it's an excellent start. We were just talking only day before yesterday, so it's still an early process, but about sourcing ethnic clothing. So at least now we've identified where that, you know, that Pride should be the ethnic clothing for the e-commerce platform that Bashiba was creating anyway. And then in parallel, we can think about the dedicated clothing platform and what that might look like. So we'll think about that.
I will urge you to have a look at our site, both the Facebook and the link. I mean, not everything, you know, we are also in the process of improvement, and the latest thing that we did, I think we have done a fairly good job in our digital content creation and our designing of a Facebook page. We do also want it to be in the mainstream market in UK. And last year we have targeted as an audience, young fashion, and mostly, you know, when this is leisure wear or athleisure kind of a thing we decided to focus on. And we have created this line called Jama, so where we have not yet invested enough in the digital front. Yeah, here, this one you can, this is the latest one. Or
Okay, looks nice.
Yeah.
It's nice. We'll look through that. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a Facebook page. Yeah.
Yeah. And do you find like that? I mean, most of your consumption of your digital marketing, it tends to be through Facebook, I presume. I mean, are you quite active on Instagram? I guess Bangladesh is not so Instagram oriented.
Sumbul can comment on that. We are having lot of queries and say almost
at least around 60 to 70% of our budget goes towards Facebook marketing. The rest is divided, and Facebook includes Instagram as well. And the rest is divided between news portals and Google banner.
Okay. Okay.
Is Sumbul, are you sharing the file or?
No, I'm sharing it actually, but I'm just looking through
on the side. There is the one that you wanted to see is the hotel one. This is studio one. The hotel one. Can you show which one would be that, Sumbul?
I'm not. So I was sharing this. So you can just send me the link.
Okay.
But I think maybe some for a future call, we can have it would be helpful to have a separate discussion just with your marketing team and maybe your marketing agency. I'd like to understand what is your digital marketing process. That would also give us some food for thought for the UK marketplace.
Sure, I would love to do that.
Yeah, we can do that. So I think so I think that's been very good. I've also recorded this Zoom call, so I'll share the recording and some meeting notes so you can share it with any colleagues, and look forward to taking it forward. So thanks, Mumbai, for the discussion. Thanks, Bashir Bhai, Hakim Bhai, and Sunny Irfan, and Nafiz and Tori, the team in Bangladesh. So I look forward to, I think I hope that we'll look back and say this is the first conversation of the UK Bangladesh B2C garments that we can start to do in a much more meaningful way. So thanks everybody.
Yeah, thank you very much. Don't take me wrong that I'm not interested others to get in. I want lot of Bangladeshi manufacturers to be in, but I was quite frustrated when I had these meetings with them in the last 7-8 months that people didn't show that kind of interest. That's why I mentioned.
But I think where you're 150 or 200% correct, if you can be 150% correct, is that I think that you're absolutely right. In my interaction, I used to work with BGMEA quite a bit, all the way back to when Atik Bhai was Asan Manzar and I used to do a lot of things for BGMEA, a lot of strategy reports probably 4 or 5 years ago. So I used to, these days I don't so much. A bit we were planning actually, was it last, before I think we had a meeting actually last February of 2020. We were planning a roadshow. We had a meeting with some of the board members. BGMEA, I think you were not there, but with Rubana at Rubana Appa's house in February 2020, we were going to do roadshows in China, in Korea, and Japan with BGMEA. Actually, more to find strategic partners from those countries for people to buy into factories in Bangladesh. And then obviously COVID hit and everything stopped. Haven't had much interaction since then. But I think that I think you're absolutely right. I think if we can make success a joint success with Pride, other people come on board. They'll just say, look, because it's about making money, and I think there's kind of a haziness, and it's a combination of risk aversion, lack of clear strategic vision, and confidence. And I understand why. It's a very even someone like Sharif. I mean, from Ananta, he's very, very smart. I have a tremendous respect for him as a business person, and very successful. And he was more interested in talking to me about working with him on his Marriott hotel in Purvachal than about the launching into the UK. But I understand why. He was a bit, even for somebody as bold and confident as he is, he was like, yeah, it's kind of risky, like getting into the UK market and creating a brand that just seems like imperial overstretch. To use the expression. So it's like a step too far, but I think we can do it in a risk managed step-by-step way. So I think we covered, I think we kind of have a broad consensus, and now it's more about let's get into the details of how we start so we can follow up with that. So thanks so much, everybody. And have a good day, stay safe, and we'll speak again soon.
Advance Eid Mubarak to everyone.
Nasi
Eid
Mubarak.
Mubarak to you.
Thank you.
Great.
Same to you.
Mubarak,
Eid
thank you.
Mubarak. Eid Mubarak.
Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.